nice to see you. I've come in here because, thank you for opening by the way, I've come in here because I need to make a video for Year 10 so they can understand what half-life is. Can I take my coat off please? Thank you. Now, half-life. Let's try and understand this Year 10. Can I have a pint please? A pint of, what have you got there? Old speckled hen? Yes please, that'll do, thanks. What is half-life? Oh dear, people drink too much in this pub. Well, half-life is about decay of radioactive substances. At the beginning of their life, radioactive substances are very active. They have a high activity. In other words, they give out lots of radioactivity. You wouldn't want to walk past them. But at the end of their life, they become much less active. The activity dies down very quickly. Okay, thank you very much, landlord. Okay, now it's a little bit like this pint of beer here that I've got this from the landlord. He's just poured it out for me, and there are lots and lots of bubbles at the top there. All the bubbles are popping, okay? If I hold it near the camera, you can probably see lots of bubbles, and they are popping. If I leave this and I come back to it after a little while, the bubbles will have gone. Now, if we came back to it after half an hour, there would be very few bubbles and very few bubbles popping, okay? So why are there lots of pops at the beginning and none or very few at the end? The answer to that is because simply there are less bubbles left. Once a bubble has popped, it cannot pop again. And that's the same with the atoms, the nucleus of atoms. The nuclei that are unstable will pop. We call it decay, but it's the same thing. They can only decay once. Once they're gone, they can't decay again. So if there are lots of unstable nuclei, we'll have lots of activity, like at the beginning. And if there are very few unstable nuclei, there's not many there to decay, so we will have less activity. So the activity dies away. And the funny thing is about the activity is it follows a curve like this, okay? So it starts off with very high activity and it dies away, dies away, dies away. But if we measure the time it takes for the activity to halve once, so the activity has halved once, that time will always be the same for it to halve again and again and again. In other words, if this was 1 minute for the activity to go from 80 down to 40, in another 1 minute it would go from 40, half of 40 is 20. In another minute, half 20 we get 10. Okay, and half 10 we get 5. So every half-life, what we call half-life, it halves its activity. That's all half-life is, okay? Hope that helps. I'm going to try and get rid of this because it doesn't need to go to waste. Thank you very much, Year 10.